Ladies and gentlemen, the expert Lee Woodward is with us tonight, the wordsmith, and the industry is in a tailstorm at the moment, together with buyers, sellers, and people out there. Lisa's got has caused part of this problem as well.
Always causing trouble.
Lee, thank you so much for joining us tonight.
Yes.
What do you got to say?
Oh, Lee's got nothing to say. Poor Lee's frozen.
That's right, Lee. Just
frozen
continue to talk, and even if you can't see yourself, we can hear you.
Yep. Lee, can you hear us there? No. Okay. Off to a good start. All right. So, guys, we are going to bring Mr. Lee Woodward back in. But we've got a really interesting topic tonight because obviously this off-market phenomenon, Mark, it's gone like a trailblazer through our entire industry.
No.
And people are asking why, what is going on? Why is every single agent doing the whole off-market spiel? What is going on out there?
Well, I know over the weekend, certainly in real estate land, there's a whole bunch of posting that's being done. And with that, it went, hey, Lee, I can hear you scrunching around. Is that you?
Poor Lee. Lee's just frozen in time on the screen there. Do you want to come off and then go back on again, Mark?
No, I think it's Lee's in. Lee, do you want to, are you on Wi-Fi? Maybe you can go to cellular, Lee. You can get out of that. You can also completely jump out of this. I can hear you scrunching around a little bit.
Yeah. Lee! Where are you? Technology.
Part of the problem of what's caused this problem is this.
That's right. Exactly. I think let's just keep rolling, shall we?
Yeah.
Let's keep rolling. All right. So, Mark, I want to know what's your take on it all, because obviously I've got my opinion, and these are just opinions, guys. There's no right. There's no wrong. Lee started a little post the other evening on his Facebook page about. It was more to do with, what's off market doing to our industry.
Yep.
And, is it going to be the case where sellers can actually start to just sell their own property as well if it looks that simple? Off market's certainly not simple. And I think it's a really interesting topic. So we really just wanted to address it. Mark, what's your take on it?
What's happened out there, guys, so you know what this is all about, is agents are saying, how do you know you got the best price if it sold pre-market? How do you know that you actually nailed it? Your client absolutely nailed it. How does your client feel great about selling their property if they didn't even hit domain.com.au or realestate.com.au?
Yeah.
And part of that was entertaining. That's been very, very interesting because people are saying, look, when you're selling, do you really need to spend the big bucks to go out there to those portals? And if not, are you selling the property less? You could be penalising yourself 50 or 100 grand. How do you know you're not?
Are you doing the property an injustice?
That's right.
Yeah. We're going to try and bring Lee back in.
Bring the Lee back in, add him to the stream.
Let's try it again, guys. Just bear with us for a moment. Lee, we got you? Lee! He keeps getting frozen. What is going on there?
Can you turn Wi-Fi? Maybe you can turn Wi-Fi off and hit 4G.
Yeah, if you can hear us.
If you can turn your Wi-Fi off, it may help you. But yeah, selling your property before.
Yeah.
Big problem. Big problem. So on the weekend there was.
Sorry, you saying it's a big problem, or you said big problem ? Is it a big problem?
Is it a big problem?
Yeah. Okay.
Is it a big problem, guys?
All right, so can I get started?
Yep.
Okay, so here's the thing. The off-market phenomenon, this is my opinion, and this is what I'm seeing. 2 years ago, I decided to build up a good, strong social media presence, Mark.
Yep.
In the attempt that possibly I might be able to sell and list property right off the back of these social media portals. To me, it just made sense. It's where all the eyeballs were. And I just thought if I follow the eyeballs and I put up content that people can engage with, then hopefully there may be that opportunity that we can sell properties right there on social media.
But it's driving agents nuts.
Okay, so here's where I think we're at this turning point at the moment in our industry. I saw it 2 years ago. And I know for a fact that I got laughed at by many, many people within the industry and outside of the industry.
Never been done before.
That was saying, Lisa, what are you doing? We just do not real estate this way. What are you doing? We don't sell properties on Facebook. And I just said, look, I don't know whatever you want to call the portal. The reality of it is that's where all the eyeballs are. That's where people are happy to engage. That's where they're seeing content that they enjoy. They get to see it in their own lounge room and it pops up on a feed that they're familiar with.
Yep.
And I believe it caused a lot of disruption in the industry. I really do. Now, where I think we're at a bit of a turning point now in real estate is I truly believe that those agents, Mark, that did not build up their social media presence a year ago, 10 months ago, 24 months ago, whatever it may be, are now struggling to compete with the agents that built themselves a very decent social media following.
That's right.
And so how they're needing to compete now is doing off market, you know, and
but if they can't compete, they're bagging it.
Well, if they can't compete, potentially they're bagging it. And this is just our opinion, guys. This is our opinion. But it is a massive, massive thing in the industry at the moment. And so a lot of people are saying, are they selling the properties cheaply? Are they selling the properties cheaply?
I saw newspapers take over the real estate industry by storm, and it took 10 years.
Yeah.
Maybe 15. I saw realestate.com take over the real estate industry by storm. It took 5 or 10 years. Now I've seen instant media and this sort of media take us by storm. It's been a very short time. It's almost been 1 year.
Yeah.
It's been the most rapid fire change I've ever seen in the business, and people are struggling to understand it.
I'm just wondering if we're not frozen as well, actually. We're not having much luck tonight with technology. I think we could be frozen too. We might let's just come out of here.
There we are. Sorry, we just cut out. Sorry, guys.
We're having all sorts of technology problems tonight. Yeah. This is quite a heavy topic as well.
It's
quite a heavy topic.
It's hardcore.
Yeah, yeah.
So what we're saying that it's the biggest rapid fire that I've ever seen in the industry, the biggest change I've ever seen in the industry and witnessed, and it's happened over 12 months. Newspapers took 20 years. Newspapers took 20 years, and then we had realestate.com took us maybe about 5 or 10 years to dominate the industry. Now, social media, bang, we're seeing a huge change.
And it's happened quite quickly. I mean, I remember, Mark, when I sold my first property on Facebook, going back about 2 years now, at that time, I didn't know, because I was one of very, very few agents that had done that, maybe even the first, I don't know. So we had no gauge. I thought, oh, maybe that's just a bit of beginner's luck. And then it started. And I remember you saying at the time, this is the quickest fireball I've ever seen rip through our industry like this.
It definitely
this social media.
Guys, this is massive.
It is huge. And so I think, guys, this is where the industry is at a turning point right now, and no one knows, because no one knows. These are very uncharted waters. You know, we certainly don't have enough stats on this. And, you know, I truly believe that the reason that this off-market phenomenon is taking place right now is because agents that don't have a strong social media presence need to find a way to compete with agents that do have a strong social media presence, that are able to sell properties right off the back of their social media channel.
Let's take some baby steps. What is pre-market?
Yep. Okay. We're just going to try and bring Lee in again, guys. I'm sorry. I do apologise for, I don't know why we're having so many technology.
Welcome, Mr. Woodward. How are you?
Lee? Poor Lee would have been like, what the hell?
Very well. How are you?
Good.
Lee, you joined at an opportune time, and can you explain to people that are watching the pre-market fad baby steps? I'm not in the industry. What are we talking about?
Well, if you look at staged marketing, it's been going on for a long period of time. And there's a couple of rules of real estate, and digital has accelerated those rules. So firstly, no matter what point in time you're in, the longer the property is on the market, the less the purchaser is going to expect to pay.
Yeah.
So buying can
We do not have a good line there. Lee, if you can hear us, I think you need to come off your Wi-Fi. We've got a really bad connection here.
Can you switch to 4G?
times with different.
We're not having much luck there.
First,
Yeah, I'm having a problem hearing you. That's not pre-market.
No, that's definitely not pre-market. Lee, we're having really big troubles hearing you. Really big troubles hearing you.
Right before you bought the wrong price, you just
I think we might have to cut Lee out and try and invite him back in.
I think so. I think we might.
I'm sorry, guys.
Give it up completely.
Lee.
Sorry, Lee.
Bye, Lee. We do apologise. I'm so sorry, guys. It's always the way, right? Everything, we've got the perfect setup here, and then all of a sudden technology goes wrong. That's just the way it goes sometimes.
Okay, pre-market.
Okay, so now.
Please explain.
Okay,
I'm not in the industry. I want to know what pre-market is.
Now,
why is it good for me? Why is it bad for me?
Okay, so look, how I roll, I actually don't do off-market, and I changed, Mark. I did when I didn't actually understand fully what it was. I used to go out and call my plan A strategy. I used to refer to it as my off market, because if it wasn't on the real estate portals, I figured, well, it's off market. And then I started to realize, hang on a second, it's on.
It's a swear word.
Yeah, you know, if a property is on the largest portal in the world, Facebook, or if it's got a signboard out the front, or if I've called my database, or if it's had a letterbox drop, it's most certainly not off market. So I actually pivoted very quickly.
Off would be a lie, because off market is
no public advertising.
Zero.
No public advertising. Yeah.
You can't say off.
No, correct. So what I did was, about a year ago, I actually changed strategy. Well, didn't change strategy. I changed the word of my strategy to pre-market.
Yep.
Now, what pre-market was a way of launching a property out to people, out to the market, out to social media, out to our database, before we've effectively launched out to any of the real estate portals.
Right.
Okay. So it gives buyers the opportunity.
Very unorthodox. No one's doing it.
Well, how else would you
Agents couldn't understand it. Sellers couldn't understand it.
Yeah.
But buyers like
correct.
it.
Now, guys, let's rewind 5 years. How else were you meant to offer a pre-market opportunity before? How were you going to do it? In the newspaper, it was too slow. The delivery of the newspaper was too slow to be able to launch out a pre-market. The beauty about launching out a pre-market now, with the way that I do it as my staged marketing campaign, is that it first goes out to my social media. That is instant.
Okay.
Right? That is instant. So the world, the public, is able to see this property before it's even gotten to our database, before it's even been launched out to realestate.com, because of the speed that we're able to get it out as a result of social media.
Why are some agents getting their knickers in and not over it?
So look, first of all, I think it's because they're not able to. This is my opinion, guys. First of all, I think it's because they're not able to compete, because they've not built up the social media presence, and that takes time. Seriously, it takes time.
Build a following on social
Yes,
media.
it does.
Which is Facebook, Insta, LinkedIn,
Yeah.
TikTok. No.
I don't use TikTok.
To
No.
find a following, YouTube. No.
A little bit, not so much. But the thing is that
it takes time, and a seller can tap into or a good agent.
Yeah.
A seller or buyer can
Look,
tap
the great
into
thing is
your social media.
This is the thing, guys. It's not about the marketing fees that are saved. I think we need to be clear here, all right? So yes, that is a wonderful, wonderful opportunity for a vendor who never wanted to spend money on marketing before, simply just wanted to dip their toes in and test the market. Or it's a great way for us to launch out pre-market and listen to the buyer feedback, hear where the offers come in. If we have the opportunity to sell for a knock your socks off offer before we've launched out to the likes of realestate.com and Domain, then what a wonderful, wonderful opportunity that is.
So it's a plan A and then a plan B.
So there's the plan A and the plan B. Now, by no means is it off market. So I don't do off market. I do pre-market. So the plan is the property is always, the listing is always getting launched out to the likes of realestate.com. It's just often we don't get there, Mark, because the property sold for a premium before it even got there.
Got it.
So I think that, you know, there's two sides to this, because there's the agents that are doing lots and lots of off market, okay? And then there's the agents that are saying, this is ridiculous, put a stop to this immediately. Why is everyone doing off market? What's this all about? Are these properties being undersold? The reality of it is, guys, let's rewind back 10 years. Let's rewind back 20 years. Off market has been around for a very, very long time, okay? Where you took a property without any public advertising and you matched it with a buyer, probably on your database, and you found the match, like a memory game. Yeah, like the memory game. You found the match, and the vendor, the seller, was happy to sell the property because I knocked on your door, Mark, and said, Mark, what's your property worth? And you say to me, I don't know, $2 million. And I go, listen, what if we could sell it for a magic price without launching to any form of public advertising? And you go, okay. And I brought you the buyer and served you up $2.5 million. And you go, I'm a happy camper, thank you, I'm sold.
But don't you get people upset that you're actually selling it before they had an opportunity to see it? Don't you get people saying, oh my God,
So-
I would have paid more?
Okay, well, they can, and they can follow you on your social media profile.
Or
So-
they didn't know that yet?
Well, that's a great way to build up your engagement. That's a great way. Look, but Mark, that existed before. Like, again, let's rewind 10 years, 20 years. Let's go to off market. Your property sold off market. I could say the same thing. I never knew that property was even for sale. I would have paid more for it. Listen, guys,
Happens after auction.
every property is for sale. Newsflash. Every property is for sale. Our property is not on the market. I promise you. I'm trying to talk about I promise you that if you came knocking on our door and offered us some stupid price, our boxes are packed and we're out of here next week. We did, Mark. We sold off market. We sold our last property. Yes, we're real estate agents, and we sold our last property off market. Now, why are agents suggesting that these properties are being sold cheaply because they never went out to the market? Let's look at it this way. A property is up for auction. And we have a 3 to 4 week auction campaign, the authentic style of marketing.
4 weeks is standard.
Property sold pre-auction.
Yes, sold 2 weeks into the auction.
Why?
Because
How's that different?
the seller decided to sell the property 2 weeks before it went to the auction because they didn't feel they were going to get that price at the auction. They felt that offer was head and shoulders above all the other interest in the marketplace. So they sold the property before.
Pre-market?
No,
that's pre-market.
no.
Well, why didn't they carry out the full auction campaign?
That's not pre-market. Pre-market is before. But this is an emotion that we're talking about, and the emotion of I am just not going to get that offer. I believe as a seller, I'm just never going to get that offer at the auction. I want to sell it now.
Yeah. Look, I think the message here's the thing, because it was a knock your socks off offer. Likely, it was a knock your socks off offer. I know that there's agents out there right now in this current market, and I would suggest this is a pretty strong market, certainly on the Northern Beaches at the moment. Okay, so I know for a fact that there's agents that are out there that don't put auction dates, that use that as a strategy to dangle the carrot, possibly
Yeah.
as a marketing strategy,
Yep.
and actually have not yet set the auction date,
Yep.
but know that buyers will be nervous about potentially going to auction, and that will entice them to put forward great offers that could potentially have that property sold before an auction campaign is even launched.
Yep. Pre-auction.
Same
Same
thing.
all the time.
Same thing.
Yep.
Okay. So what is your opinion, Mark, on why this off-market phenomenon is sweeping through the real estate industry?
Because it's fast. I think because agents have seen we're talking now from potentially moving a 4-week auction campaign to a 4-day pre-market campaign and selling, and not investing 10 or 20 grand or 15 grand or 5 grand, but investing nothing. So I think a lot of questions are raised, a lot of fear of loss, a lot of craziness, emotions and stuff is raised when you see that sort of brute force and brute of property selling so quickly. It's very intimidating. So I think people at the moment are seeing pre-market. Buyers are excited by it because they're going, shit, I'm getting in before everyone else, and I don't have to sit around and have to wait, go to a bloody auction. Sellers like it because there's often they don't invest much money or any money, and they get an incredible price.
Yeah.
Buyers are happy to pay a premium price, realizing it's not going to go to the big, boring, ugly, long auction.
Yeah.
So, having said that, I auction properties. I've got 17 Christine Monavale going to auction. The circumstances of those clients are legally they have to go to auction.
Right.
So they're both sides of the party want it low, they want it slow, and they want it just to see out that 4-week campaign.
And I've just had one of those as well, where I had a deceased estate, and we had executors, and that was the situation.
Yeah.
But can I just point out that, you know, not every vendor, so all of this aside, Mark, not every vendor wants the ticker tape parade. Not every vendor does.
Every agent does.
No, not necessarily.
Every real estate agent. The agents benefit from the ticker tape parade because it's 4 weeks of marketing.
Yeah.
The agency and the brand and the agent as well. So more agents want the 4-week, and they want to see 100 buyers. They don't want to see 15.
No, that's right.
You know, more agents want the long 4-week campaign, but clients don't.
Look, the thing is that not every vendor does. I mean, I've dealt with many a vendor, you know, that have said to me, Lisa, we just kind of want to fly in under the radar. Yes, we want a good price, timing. I had a situation a couple of weeks ago where the vendor's instructions to me were, can you please just get this property sold before I pass away? So, you know,
they don't want an auction.
He certainly didn't want an auction. You know, he had what he thought was a couple of weeks.
So we've really got to put the client first.
Yeah. Well, you've got to listen to what the client. You've got to listen to what the client's needs are. Yes, absolutely.
They're the one paying the commission. They're the one accepting the offer. They're the one in control.
Yes.
And what the client really wants is the highest possible price in the shortest possible time.
Absolutely.
That's the bottom line.
Now, if the shortest possible time, this is interesting. So I had this discussion with you last night, Mark, because a lot of people, you know, the fastest I've ever sold a property of social media, and definitely not cheaply, was in 4 hours. 4 hours. So most people haven't even done their photography and had photos back, and that property.
You got big hands.
It's definitely not my hand. I do have big hands. But you know, that property was sold quickly for a phenomenal price in a phenomenal time frame.
How do you know you didn't sell it?
We were having that. Just hang on a sec. We were having that conversation last night, Mark, and I was saying, you know, a lot of people say about time frames and, well, did it sell too fast? Well, if that's the case, one of the biggest conversations we have in our industry is about days on market. Everyone wants to know how long was that property on the market for.
Yep.
Well, what's that relevant for? If it's selling a property in a very short period of time is not relevant to people.
Days on market.
Days on market is clearly relevant. Without a doubt, you know, without a doubt.
Short better until the last 6 months.
Yes, absolutely. But Mark, while I've got the opportunity, I really just want to point out. I've put a little salty on you guys. I really just do want to point out about, the strategy that we use and I use. I fly the flag of it constantly. That, I offer my plan A and plan B. But there's something very critical here that I want to point out. Plan A is the $0 marketing strategy, pre-market launch, out to social media and database. Okay. Why at that level would a vendor sell cheaply when we can take $5,000 and put it onto the likes of realestate.com or Domain or both, and then go out to the market and get tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands of dollars more? Why would a vendor sell cheaply pre-market? They just simply wouldn't. They simply wouldn't. But I think where this craze has taken place now, and as I mentioned early on, for those of you guys that are just tuning in, we're talking about the pre-market phenomenon, otherwise known out in the real estate industry as off-market. We call it pre-market because we're always launching out to those real estate portals. It's just quite often we don't get there.
Heavyweight Rumor Monday is
Hello.
is in the building.
Hey guys, hey Paul, hey Rebecca. Do you find people list with you because of your social media videos? I do, Rebecca. Yes, all the time. In fact, I was just at a listing presentation just prior to this, and they'd looked me up on Facebook. Actually, I got called in to a multi-million-dollar listing in the city today.
Oh, you get
all the time.
You get a lot of referrals all around, even
all the time.
Other states. And
so just on that, it's like
I don't call me anymore.
Maybe it's the blonde hair. You know what? Just on that, guys, I just want to say that one of my biggest struggles right now is that I do get called into listing presentations a lot as a result of my social media, but it's all over Sydney, sometimes all over the country. And the struggle now is I don't actually know how to service these guys that are outside of area. So if you're not on the real estate gym, on Tom Panis's real estate gym, get on there because I'm constantly throwing out leads.
Yeah.
I know.
All the time.
Today, Ashfield was another one. So, constantly am. So, yes, the short answer is I do.
But the pre-market stuff, in summary, guys, the pre-market stuff is going bananas. It is sheer brute force and selling very fast, very rapid fire. It's throwing agents into a tailspin. It's confusing vendors what's in their best interest. Buyers are loving the speed and the convenience. But as an industry, I've been in the industry now for 26, 27 years. Rumor, you could be my witness. And one thing that I haven't seen is the rate of change in the last 12 months. I've never seen that rate of change in our business, and it's thanks to instant media. It's thanks to social media. It hasn't made our job. This is for sure. It hasn't made our job easier. It's definitely the process of what we are doing to build our audiences up and have a following on digital and social media, and being able to sell stuff for an absolute premium price. I'll give you one example.
Oh my gosh, Mark, this is such a valid point.
I'll give you one example. The television repairman client told me this the other day. You took your television in, this doesn't happen these days, you chuck it out, but you took your television in, and to get it fixed, $250, goes like this and fixes your television. And you go, what? 2 minutes. It took 2 minutes and you're going to charge $250. And the television repairman goes, nope. And he goes, what do you mean? He goes, it took 17 years and 2 minutes for me to fix your television for $250. So, ladies and gentlemen, this is really doing agents' head in and vendor and people's heads in. Agents that are getting unbelievable results in the marketplace. It is a collection and it's an amassment of a hell of a lot of experience, life experience, industry experience, a hell of a lot of work, and they are doing the deal, and it looks very easy. It looks like they took one buyer through or 20 buyers through and they got paid this enormous commission. But you are paying for probably 1 or 2 or 3,000 no's that the agents receive for them to get one yes for you to pay a commission on. And pre-market has accelerated and exposed that even harder in a faster time en masse to confuse everyone.
100%. I have just a few things to say, and I'll be quick because we're almost up now. First of all, the amount of work that goes into getting a property onto social media, although it is instant, is phenomenal. It is so just to let you guys know, for me personally, with my pre-markets that are going onto my social media, I'm spending about 4 to 6 hours on my social media. So when we finish here, I've been going now since 5 a.m. this morning. When we finish up doing Novak News, I have about 2 hours left of work to do on my social media to go through and answer all of those inquiries. So it is definitely not the easy way. In fact, I find, with all due respect to my vendors, when
and your kids.
Yeah, when I do, you know, if we do need to launch out to my plan B, getting onto realestate.com, and I take the $4,000 or $5,000 and get onto realestate.com, I must say I feel an immense amount of relief, because I then have a different portal doing a whole lot of that work that I would usually feed into my social media. I hope that makes sense. The other thing that I want to say is we must be careful as an industry that we are listening to what the consumers' demands and needs are. Can I just say that again? We must listen to what the consumers' demands and needs are. Let's think about for a moment, guys, how we order food. Let's think about for a moment how we order an Uber. All right, so Uber came along and everyone went, oh, taxi combined, as if like anything's going to happen there. And it was like lightning speed. We didn't even see it coming. It ripped through the taxi industry like a fireball. Now, I don't know about you guys that are watching, but when we order food, we don't order by the fact that we feel like Thai food. Everyone's looking to see what's going to be here the fastest. That's how we order our food now. So just be careful as an industry that we aren't cutting out the needs and the listening to what the consumers want. And my last thing, and I've got so much to say on this topic, but the last thing I want to say is my favourite quote of the moment. If the rate of change on the outside of the industry exceeds the rate of change on the inside of our industry, we are in trouble. So if what is going on the outside of our industry is moving faster and innovating and you know, creating what the needs of the public are, more so than what's going on the inside of the industry, just be careful, because we are in trouble. And that's currently what is happening.
And Mr. and Mrs. Buyer and Mr. and Mrs. Seller and Mr. and Mrs. Real Estate agents out there, if you think that this is it, that there is no more change for real estate, and you think the way we've been doing it the last 3 years is going to continue the next 10 years, 8 years, 7 years, 3 years, no, we're here. Time's come.
Can I just ask? Let me just ask you guys out there a question. What replaced the paper? So real estate section, newspaper. I know our local paper, Manly Daily, real estate section, gone. You cannot advertise a property in there anymore. You just can't. What replaced it?
What replaced the window display in an office?
Yeah. So it's not. This is not a you know, this is not a tug of war. This is a forum. These are our thoughts. These are our opinions. We're absolutely open to hearing what your thoughts and opinions are. But our opinion is the reason that the real estate industry has turned to selling property off market is because it is competing
Bad word.
with itself.
Bad word.
Because the industry as a whole is still not innovating and keeping up with the demands of the public's needs.
Free market,
Yes.
but if you guys and girls, if you look at, you know, if you look at the way real estate was done, it was done by shop fronts. You had to have a shop front in that suburb, and that's the way you moved along the property.
Yeah.
The shop front got replaced, still exists. It got replaced as the primary method to sell. It got replaced by classified ads. Still exists. Then it got replaced by display ads, which is the photos.
Yeah.
Still exists. Then it got replaced by realestate.com.au. domain.com.au still exists. So all those things still exist in conjunction with each other, get the best price for a property.
I agree.
But what's at the helm? I'm telling you guys, at the helm is no longer the newspaper. At the helm is no longer properties in the window of the real estate agency. They're all working in conjunction.
Yeah.
We're not poo-pooing on a real estate shop front or poo-pooing on a newspaper, but they are now all working in conjunction. But I'm telling you, at the helm, I'll tell you what's at the helm. 5 top apps on your phone in the world, 4 of them are owned by Facebook. I'll say it again. Out of the 5 top apps in the world, 4 of them are owned by Facebook.
Yeah.
So you may think that that doesn't matter, but I can tell you I don't have access to that information in my real estate agency with my telephone, right? But I do have access to the information when I start using them to promote my clients' property. And I can guarantee you that Facebook are fast enough to go, hey, real estate agent, hey, there's a property, hey, there's a buyer, click. They are using that information.
Absolutely.
Why wouldn't you?
I think it's important also to understand that off-market, as the industry calls it, we don't call it that, we call it pre-market, but off-market, as the industry is calling it, is simply just not enough.
Pre-market.
It's just simply not enough on its own. I mean, it must be hell trying to find that buyer in your database to match that property. It honestly must be like trying to pluck a needle out of a haystack.
But we still do it in conjunction.
But we still do, correct. And I think it's important to note that this is super important. The pre-market is very important, that it's done in collaboration with so many other things. Again, I am always launching those properties out to realestate.com. It's just pre-market they sold for a phenomenal price and they never, ever got there. What is a phenomenal price? A price that the vendor says, Lisa, if you got me $2 million for my $1.2 million apartment, I am out of here tomorrow. And when we got the vendor 2.1, they're like, see ya, we're out of here. None of the properties sold cheaply. Well, certainly none of our pre-market properties have sold cheaply. What's that?
That's a show.
That's the show. Yes. Oh, it's been quite a hectic one, and I'm so sorry, guys, about Lee Woodward. We did have some technology issues there.
That what I'm wearing as well.
Oh my God.
I've got shorts on.
That's
Yeah,
nice.
yeah. I've got
Excellent. Well, you'll be happy to know, guys, that I'm completely fully dressed. All right, guys, we hope that's been helpful. Again, this is our opinion. Is it here to stay? This is not a fad. Let's document this right here, that the off-market that the industry is doing, or my pre-market that I'm doing, is definitely not a fad. This is a pivotal turning point in our industry where we take a sharp turn left or right and we move into new territory, and that's called innovation. This is disruption that is sweeping through our industry, and I would suggest, my opinion is that it is here to stay.
Enjoy it, guys.
See you guys. That's a wrap. Take care. Bye.